Hey folks, this is Kalani. Pretty much everything available in patch 8.3 has now been unlocked with Season 4 of Battle for Azeroth. We have the new raid tier to explore and plunder, the new Mythic Plus dungeons have been updated with a new seasonal affix, so we have a whole new round of stuff to do. But more importantly, we also have access to the higher item level loot on offer with this patch. Let's have a look at where you can get gear, what the best options are for gearing up, and how you can get past 470 item level so you can really show those visions who's boss. The easiest gear to get in patch 8.3 comes from the different assaults that are present. There will be 3 assaults per week, one Black Empire assault that will persist for the entire week on one of the 2 8.3 zones, and then 2 other faction assaults in the other zone. One of these will be available at the start of the week for 3.5 days, and the other will pop up after that one expires and last for the rest of the week. So one assault that is weekly, one assault at the start of the week, and one assault at the end of the week for 3 total. Get all 3 done and you'll have 3 boxes that have a chance to contain loot. The loot can scale up to 445 item level from what I've seen, so it can provide you with some huge upgrades, but the real key is that it seems like these caches have a higher chance of yielding corrupted gear. I've seen so many guildies get corrupted gear from these caches, it's not even funny, mainly because none of my loot has been super awesome, but hey, that's just the luck of the draw, right? 3 boxes a week might not sound like a lot, but it's super easy gear, and if you get corrupted items, they could be worth a lot more than what the item level actually says. If you get Echoing Void or Infinite Stars, I doubt you can even replace a 440 item level right now. Those effects are so incredible. You also need to do those assaults for Coalescing Visions and Reputation, so it's an awesome place to start. The great thing about these caches is that the more gear you get and the higher your item level goes, the better the reward will be up to the 445 cap. That means they're going to stay relevant for a long time. Another new source of gear in patch 8.3 is the Horrific Vision system. This can provide you with massive gear upgrades every single week up to item level 470. That is absolutely crazy for a piece of content that you can solo and everyone has access to. Obviously, it's not going to be a walk in the park getting that 470 reward, so let's break down how you actually get gear from Horrific Visions. It's actually kind of complicated, not really complicated, just potentially confusing, so I'll put something on screen that the dev team gave us to help clear it up. You can get 8 rewards in total from Horrific Visions, but you can only get each item level reward once, and you need to complete various requirements to reach specific rewards. You also always need to kill the main objective and get the very big chest to get any gear at all. If you don't kill Thrall or Illyria in your vision, you're not going to get loot, period. So for example, you can complete just the main boss and get a 420 piece of gear, or you can do 2 bonus objectives with the main boss for 430 gear. If you do 2 bonus objectives and the boss to get a 430 piece of gear, and then do 2 bonus objectives and the main boss again, you can't get the 430 piece of gear again because you already got it once this week, but you will still get any rewards lower than what you managed to complete. So you should get a 430 piece your first time, and then a 420 piece your second time. As you complete more and more bonus objectives and eventually start adding masks on to increase the difficulty, you can get some pretty awesome rewards. This caps out at a 470 piece of gear for doing a full clear with 5 masks. So that's going to take a bit of time, but up until that point Horrific Visions will reward very high item level pieces. A full clear of a Horrific Vision gives 445 item level gear at least once per week, and I'm already able to get 4 chests very reliably, so just a bit more time and effort and we should be able to full clear very soon. As you upgrade your legendary cloak, upgrade your Titan archive more, and just get more gear in general, the Horrific Vision system will reward better and better loot as you can get further into each vision you run. Because you can get each reward once per week, eventually the Horrific Visions will be a reliable source of 470 item level gear every single week. One of the best ways to gear up is still going to be the dungeon system. Once again, everything has been scaled up, so you can hop into normal dungeons and get item level 400 loot, or heroic dungeons for item level 415 loot. You can queue for both of these types of content, and you should get through them incredibly quickly. Gearing up has never been this easy for fresh characters or alts. You can use the bind on account tokens that drop from rares in the new patch 8.3 assault zones to give yourself a boost, and if you're not quite there, you can run some dungeons to cover the rest of your slots. Between BoA tokens and heroic dungeons, you should be able to get above 415 item levels super easily. From there, you have to work a bit harder. Mythic Plus dungeons would be an awesome next step. Even running some lower keys can net you some amazing upgrades. Because Mythic Plus rewards are based entirely on the key level you're running and you're able to complete, let's have a quick look at what level drops what item level for the new season. As a quick note, for this very first week we are capped at item level 445 gear out of the end of dungeon chest, so running above a +6 right now won't yield any item level increases in the dungeon itself. Next week is a different story though. You can go all the way up to a +15 and reap all the benefits of the higher key level, including the 465 end of dungeon loot. As you go higher and higher, you get better loot, so pushing your keys is always going to be worth it if you're trying to gear up without stepping foot in the new raid tier. You can get heroic raid level equivalent gear by running +12 keys, which might sound super high right now, but honestly with how powerful the corrupted effects are looking to be, you could push that kind of key sooner than you might think. So many guildies are rocking the DPS meters thanks to crazy corruption effects, so don't tell yourself you can't do a key just because it's a bit of a high level. If you end up failing a key below a +10, you can also get a buff to help you finish the dungeon, so up until that point you should try your hardest to push your keys up. After you get to the +10 mark, you can't get that fail buff anymore, but what you do get to play around with is the new Awakened affix. I think it's a lot of fun, so I would encourage you to give it a shot this time around. It's the last season for this expansion, and Mythic Plus will always be an amazing source of gear. You should try to get at least one key done for your weekly Mythic Plus cash, if nothing else. That reward goes up to 475 item level, which is going to be massive for anyone who can get the +15 done. We managed to squeeze out a +15 key this week, so I'm super excited to see what's in the box on reset day. The weekly cash is once again going to give you some of the best rewards available in the game each week, but the only way to get the cash is to run at least one Mythic Plus dungeon. Another staple source of gear is of course the new raid tier. Nyalotha is proving to be an incredibly fun experience so far, even if it is a little bit quirky in some places. The amount of trash is also kinda crazy, but hey, more chances for loot with the bind on equip gear. Normal Nyalotha starts out dropping 445 item level gear, with 555 coming from the last two bosses. Heroic will bump that up to 460 item level gear, with 470 from the last two bosses, and when Mythic opens up next week we'll be able to get 475 item level gear from every boss, and 485 from the last two. That is some insane item level bump for the end bosses, but they do kind of deserve it. They're proving to be quite difficult to take down even on heroic mode. If you're able to clear the raid every week, there's no better source of high item level gear, especially if you can dip your toe into Mythic. For anyone interested, the first boss, Rathian, looks like it should be relatively easy to pug, so you might see some Mythic runs of that before too long. The corrupted weapons are also huge upgrades for almost every single class and spec, and while you can get corrupted weapons from other sources, the ones from the raid are guaranteed to be corrupted, so you cut out all of the RNG involved. There are some other sources of gear that you might be interested in. There's a new world boss for each 8.3 zone, so one in the Vale and one in Uldum. Only one of them is active at any given time, so one new world boss to take down each week. These world bosses can drop 445 item level gear, so that's going to be a nice piece of gear for anyone who might have been left behind a bit. It's the same as normal Nyalotha gear, so it's definitely worth looking into. The heroic Darkshore Warfront is also now available with patch 8.3, though you will have to wait until your Darkshore Warfront becomes available for play. I think it's active for Horde on European realms for another day or so, and if you manage to complete the heroic version and turn in the quest, you can get item level 460 pieces of gear. That's incredible for a Warfront reward, so while you can still benefit from that 460 item level gear, you should definitely look into the Darkshore Warfront and keep an eye out for it opening up for you. Heroic Darkshore shouldn't be too difficult, so it's kind of like a free piece of heroic raid loot. For anyone a bit further behind, the Emissary rewards have been scaled up quite a bit as well. I'm currently able to get a 445 ring or trinket from the Tortollan Emissary and 445 Azurite pieces from the other emissaries. That could be some big upgrades for a lot of players that weren't able to raid at all last patch, so your world quests might be more enticing with this reward bump. Double check your emissaries to see what they offer, they might just have something special for you. In a similar vein, world quests have had their gear rewards upgraded as well. It's not quite as crazy as some of the loot on this list, but you can get up to 420 item level gear just from world quests alone. So between the BoA tokens, normal and heroic dungeons, and world quests and emissaries, you should be able to get your item level pretty high without doing any instance content whatsoever. Then you can tackle the horrific visions for some upgrades, get your Mythic Plus groove on for some easy gear, and step foot into Ny'alotha to bring the pain to N'Zoth, and loot all of his most valuable treasures. And that's how you can gear up quickly to start some of the harder content in patch 8.3 and eventually work towards a very shiny item level of 470 or even higher. We're probably going to be able to get up to 480 with the cloak carrying our item level so much, and the last bosses of the raid dropping a whopping 485 item level on mythic difficulty. That is going to be amazing when we finally get there. But that's it for this video. What do you think of gearing up so far in patch 8.3? Have you been going crazy with the +6 dungeons, or have you just been sticking to the solo content for now? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, you can find a link in the description below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.